You ever hear someone say, "The corn talks if you listen long enough"? Yeah, I used to laugh at that too, until one Halloween when I found out it's not a joke. This happened when I was 16. My family had this small farm in rural Illinois, middle of nowhere, just acres of corn and silence. The kind of place where you can hear your own heartbeat at night. My dad used to say, "This land remembers who takes care of it." I never really understood that. But after that night, I'll never forget it. So, it was late October. We were finishing up the harvest before winter. The air was cold, and the sky had that dark orange glow before sunset. I remember standing by the barn, stacking bales of hay, when I heard something strange. It wasn't the wind. It sounded like whispering, real faint, like someone far away saying something over and over. I froze. Then my dad looked up and said, "You hear that?" I said, "Yeah, what is that?" He just smiled a bit and said, "It's just the corn talking." I laughed. "The corn? Seriously?" But he didn't laugh back. He just went quiet, real still, something about the way he said it. It didn't feel like a joke. That night, I kept hearing it again, faint whispers outside my window. At first I thought maybe it was an animal or the wind, but it was too clear. Then I kid you not, I heard my name. Caleb. I remember sitting up so fast my head hit the wall. I grabbed my flashlight, looked out the window, and there were footprints, bare feet, right outside my window. Now here's the thing, we didn't have neighbors. Closest house was like a mile away. Next day, some random guy shows up at our door. Old gray beard, dusty clothes, smelled like smoke. He says he used to work this land before the fire. My dad's face changed like he'd seen a ghost. He told the man to leave, but before he did, the guy leaned toward me and said, "It wakes every 30 years. You'll hear it too, boy." The corn remembers. That night, Dad didn't say a word at dinner. He just stared out the window at the fields. And that's when things got bad. Around midnight, I woke up to a sound. Tap, tap, tap. On my window, I froze. I didn't even breathe. Then I heard it again, my name, whispered so softly I thought I was dreaming. Caleb. I got out of bed, grabbed my flashlight, and I don't know what possessed me, but I walked outside. The corn was swaying slow, even though the air was still. And from deep inside the field, I swear to you, I heard people whispering. Dozens of voices. I stood there, trying to see if maybe someone was out there playing a prank, but it wasn't laughter. It was chanting, low, repetitive, harvest, harvest. I started backing away, heart pounding. Then I saw something move between the stalks. Tall, human-shaped, but it wasn't walking, it was gliding. That's when my dad came running out of the barn, shotgun in hand, yelling, "Get back inside!" Bang! And just like that, the whispering stopped. Everything went dead silent. He turned to me, pale as a ghost, and said, "It's starting again." He didn't explain what that meant. He just stayed up all night, watching the fields from the porch. The next morning, he was gone. The tractor was still running. The field was empty. But in the middle of it, there was a perfect circle of burnt corn, black as ash. The sheriff said maybe lightning struck, but there hadn't been any storms. After that, my mom locked every door and window. She kept whispering prayers, kept saying, "Don't go outside. The corn remembers." But a few nights later, I woke up and she was gone too. The front door was open. I ran outside, screaming her name, and that's when I saw it. The cornfield was glowing, faint orange light flickering deep inside, like a fire under the soil. I followed it, couldn't stop myself. And when I got to the center, there they were. Dozens of them figures standing between the rows, black silhouettes, burnt, their skin cracked like dried wood. And one of them was my dad. He looked at me, eyes hollow, and said, "It's time for the harvest." I swear to you, I ran so fast I didn't even feel my legs. I could hear the corn moving behind me, like something crawling through it. And that whispering, getting louder, "Caleb, Caleb." I made it to the house, slammed the door, and hid until sunrise. By morning, Mom never came back. And the field, it looked normal again, like nothing had ever happened. We moved the next day. My dad was never found. Mom stopped talking after that. Not a single word until she died years later. When I was cleaning her things, I found an old letter tucked inside her Bible. It said, "We tried to stop it, but the land takes what it's owed. The corn remembers I burned that letter, hoping it would end whatever curse was tied to that place." But last week, I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a small jar filled with corn kernels. And at the bottom, a folded note that said, "It's ready again." I don't know how to explain it, but the night I opened that jar, I heard it again. Outside my apartment window, faint whisper, "Caleb." So, if you ever drive through Illinois and you see a cornfield glowing under the moonlight, don't stop. Don't roll your windows down. And whatever you do, don't listen when it whispers your name. Faint whisper returns. Caleb. Wind fades out completely. All right, you think that first story was creepy? Just wait till you hear this one. This happened to a guy driving through Nevada one Halloween, and to this day, he swears he never really checked out. Here's the story of the motel on Route 9. You ever drive late at night, out in the middle of nowhere, and see one of those old motels with the flickering neon sign? The kind that looks too quiet, too lonely to still be open? Yeah, I stopped at one of those once, and I've regretted it ever since. It was October 30th, 2 years ago. I was driving through rural Nevada. Endless road, not a single headlight in sight. My gas light had been on for miles, and my GPS had died somewhere back near Route 50. That's when I saw it, glowing red through the dust. Rest Easy Motel. Half the neon letters were burned out. Only the word rest still worked. Fitting, I thought. The parking lot was empty, except for one old pickup truck parked sideways, like it had been there for decades. There was this smell, like wet carpet and old wallpaper. The air felt heavy, like it hadn't moved in years. Inside, the lobby was dim. Just one lamp on the counter, no one there. Just a brass bell and an old guest ledger covered in dust. I rang the bell once, no answer. Then, slow footsteps, dragging, soft, from the back room. A woman appeared, maybe in her 60s, thin smile, gray hair tucked under a kerchief. She said, "Checking in, dear?" Her voice was warm, but something about her eyes felt off, like she was smiling out of habit. I nodded, handed her cash, and she slid a tarnished key across the counter. "Room 9. She said softly, "You picked a quiet night. Hardly anyone stays on Halloween Eve anymore." Something in her tone, like she missed when people did. The hallway was long and narrow, wallpaper peeled like dead skin. The carpet squished under my boots. Room 9 was at the very end, door slightly crooked on its hinges. When I turned the knob, the overhead light flickered once and died. Only the bathroom light worked, a dim yellow bulb that hummed like a fly trap. 2 twin beds, a rotary phone, and a Bible open on the nightstand. A page was missing. Someone had written the number 9 over and over inside the cover. I tried to laugh it off, told myself, just old weirdos, that's all. Laid on the bed, turned on my phone flashlight, and tried to sleep. Then I heard it. The room next door, creaking open. Room 8. A faint TV sound came through the wall. News anchors, static, distant voices. Except the static started whispering, low, almost like it was saying something. Around 2 a.m., I woke to 3 slow knocks on my door, not loud, deliberate. "Front desk," a man's voice said. "I think you dropped your key." I looked at my nightstand. The key was still there. I whispered, "I didn't drop anything." Silence. Then, the voice again, softer. "Room 9 always forgets." I looked under the door. I swear I saw bare feet, only they were facing the wrong way. Toes toward the hall, heels pressed against my door. I said, "Leave." The feet turned and walked backward down the hall. I didn't sleep again, just sat there, counting the minutes until sunrise. Except it never came. My phone said 7 a.m., but outside, still pitch black. I pulled back the curtain, and there was no parking lot, no sky, just a flat wall of black, like the world ended right past that window. I ran to the front desk. The woman was sitting there, same seat, same smile, only her eyes were darker now, almost hollow. She said, "Checkout's not until tomorrow, Mr. Carter." I froze. I hadn't told her my name. Behind her were dozens of Polaroids pinned to the wall, guests smiling in front of their rooms, all dated October 31st, different years. Every photo had one thing in common. Each person stood under the number 9, and the last picture was me. Same clothes, same face, same terrified expression. I backed away, photos falling, bell ringing by itself. She said, "You always come back, Mr. Carter." I shouted, "What is this place?" Her smile cracked, literally cracked, like her skin split when she grinned too wide. "You checked in. That means you belong." I ran for the door, but the glass turned black, reflecting me. Only older, paler. The reflection whispered, "You never checked out." Then, everything went silent. Next thing I remember, I was sitting in my car, parked on the shoulder of Route 9. Sunlight, birds, the sound of traffic in the distance. The motel was gone, just open desert. I laughed, told myself it was all a dream. Then I saw it, the key, Room 9, resting on the passenger seat. It was rusted, but warm, like someone had been holding it moments before. When I got home, I looked up, Rest Easy Motel. It burned down in 1979. 9 victims, all guests. The last registered name on the record, Ethan Carter, my name. Sometimes when I drive late at night, I still see that same neon sign flickering in the distance. Rest Easy Motel, and when I pass it, the radio turns to static. Through it, a voice whispers, "Room 9's ready, Ethan. Check in." All right, you've heard of haunted motels, and you've heard of things that follow you long after you leave. But this next one, this one doesn't wait for you to come to it. It comes to you. They say deep in the countryside of Virginia, there's a creek where lanterns float every Halloween night. Locals call it Hollow Creek. Some say they're just reflections. Others say they're souls, still searching for the ones who left them behind. Tonight, we go there. This is the story of the Lanterns of Hollow Creek. In the heart of rural Montana, there's a town called Hollow Creek, a place that doesn't appear on most maps anymore. Locals say it died decades ago, but every Halloween, a strange glow rises from the old creek bed that runs behind the churchyard. That's what brought Nora Hayes, a freelance photographer, to the town no one talks about. She'd spent months chasing ghost stories for a Halloween project. But Hollow Creek felt different. Older, heavier, like the air itself was remembering something terrible. Her goal was simple: capture the lanterns people whispered about online. Lights that float above the fog every year on October 31st, said to be the souls of those who drowned there long ago. The bus dropped her at a crossroads lined with trees. A faded wooden sign read, "Hollow Creek, population 132. Except when she walked through town, it felt more like 12. Houses stood half-rotted, windows covered with quilts or plywood. Only the faint hum of an old street lamp broke the silence. At the end of the street was a small store called Turner's General, its paint flaking, bell rusted above the door. Inside stood Eli Turner, the shop's owner, a wiry man in his 70s, with hands that shook when he rang up a purchase. He asked, "You one of them outsiders looking for the lights?" Nora smiled politely. "I'm a photographer. I just want to document them." Eli's eyes darkened. He muttered, "The creek don't like strangers, and the lanterns don't shine for free." She tried to laugh it off, but his tone wasn't joking. At dusk, Nora followed a dirt path behind the old wooden church. The steeple leaned slightly to one side, and the bell hadn't rung in years. Beyond it, she saw the creek, wide, black, and still. The air was heavy with fog and the smell of wet leaves. She set up her tripod, the camera clicking softly as twilight faded. Then, out of the mist, came light. One small lantern floated up from the creek, then another, and another. Soon, a dozen golden orbs hovered silently above the water, moving slowly upstream, glowing like spirits caught between worlds. She whispered, "Beautiful." But then she realized something. The lanterns weren't drifting with the current. They were moving against it, and straight toward her. Nora grabbed her camera and stumbled backward. The lanterns followed their light, reflecting in her eyes like hungry fireflies. She sprinted through the churchyard, fog swallowing her steps, until she saw a figure waving from the store porch. It was Eli. He pulled her inside, slammed the door shut, and whispered, "You saw them, didn't you?" She nodded, shaking. They were coming closer. He poured her a cup of coffee, his hands trembling so hard the liquid spilled. He said, "They used to light real lanterns back when the mines flooded in 1912. Families made them for the dead. But one night, the lanterns never came back down the creek." He looked her dead in the eye. "They say those lights are still searching for someone." The next morning, Nora went exploring the church basement. Inside, under broken pews and piles of hymn books, she found an old leather-bound journal. The name on the cover, Mara Turner, Eli's grandmother. Inside were entries written over a century ago, stories about the flood that took dozens of lives. Miners, children, a preacher, all swept away when the dam burst. The final entry read, "The lanterns burn for those not yet found. But now they burn for us all." By the second night, fog rolled in early and thicker. The whole town vanished beneath it, even sound felt muffled. Nora stayed near the church steps, watching the creek with her camera ready. Then came the first whisper, soft, childlike. "Help us find the way." She froze. The fog shimmered and faces appeared beneath the surface of the water. Dozens of pale, ghostly faces looking up. The lanterns rose again, but this time, they weren't floating gently. They moved fast, almost purposeful. Nora turned to run, but a reflection in the creek caught her eye. It wasn't hers. It smiled. Eli met her near dawn, pale and exhausted. He confessed the truth. The Turners lit the first lanterns. "We thought they'd guide our kin home, but they came back hungry." He told her about his brother dragged into the creek one Halloween night. No body ever found. Eli's voice cracked. "I think they want to finish the family line," Nora asked softly. "Then why did they follow me?" He looked down. "Because you saw them. And once you see them, they see you back." That night, the fog came rolling over the town like a tide. Eli carried one last lantern, the original one his grandmother made. He told her, "If this doesn't end it, don't come back for me." They went to the creek. The water glowed faintly from beneath, as if thousands of candles burned below the surface. Nora lifted her camera, but Eli shook his head. "No more pictures. It wants names, not memories." He stepped into the water, holding the lantern high. "Mara!" he shouted. "Take me and let her go!" The water erupted, hands reaching, pulling, swirling, and the lantern burst into flame. When the light faded, Eli was gone. Only the creek remained, perfectly still. At dawn, the fog lifted. Hollow Creek was quiet again. Nora packed her things, but before leaving, she took one last photo of the empty creek. Just water and morning light. Peaceful. She developed the pictures a week later and froze. In the final frame, a single lantern floated on calm water, and inside it, her name was carved. Nora. She deleted every photo, but the image burned in her mind. A year later, a new family moved into Hollow Creek. They said the town was quiet, peaceful, perfect for a fresh start. But on their first Halloween night, fog rolled down from the hills, and the youngest child, a boy of 6, pointed out his window and whispered, "Mom, the lights are here." The mother smiled tiredly. "What lights, honey?" He pointed again. "Those ones they're calling my name. Locals say if you drive past Hollow Creek now, you can still see golden lights rising from the fog. Some swear they hear soft voices calling from the water, not for help, but for company. So if you ever wander through the back roads of Montana and you see lanterns floating above a dark creek, don't stop. Don't take pictures. And whatever you do, don't look for your reflection in the water. Because if it smiles back, you've already been chosen." So, if you ever wander through the back roads or hear whispers in the fog, remember, some stories don't end when you leave the place. If you loved these tales and want more creepy, chilling stories just like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join our little corner of the dark. Turn on notifications, because when the night falls, you never know which story might find you next. And remember, the shadows are always watching,